Monday morning as usual for the exam. I will have your grades ready by Wednesday. I have to anyway. He has the grades in Blackboard, so I'll just post numbers in Blackboard. I'm going to download it into Excel to do the calculations. But I will also, once I do that, I'll go back in and put letter grades in the Blackboard. So I think you have access to Blackboard for a little bit. So you should be able to see those. If there's any questions after Wednesday when I turn it in, you can, I will be here on, probably be here on Friday. Or you can email me on Blackboard, we can talk on Blackboard, or I can use you if it's necessary. Otherwise, any big changes or whatever, we'll do it in the spring. There's always a form for change of grade if there's a problem. So it's not set in stone, it's not that the grade can't be changed. So if there's anything that we need to sort out, we'll do it in the spring, anything big. For the exam, you're going to get my exam, which I gave yesterday to my other people. And it's going to take the format of mostly identification. The identification will be based on all the models and kidney that we use, Mr. Henry, the model kidney, the real kidney, the blue plates, purple plates, male and female. What else did we use? The nephron and the pyramid, the portion of the pyramid. And so you'll have station around the room. The last 3 or 4 stations will be all written. Number 41 through number 50. It will be from the urinalysis questions, and those are taken from this information in here. So if you read the introductory stuff, and if you do the my page 70, my page 72, your page 60. No, not 5. Let's go further on. For the answers.
Okay. 67.
60.
70.
No, page 70. That's asking you to go home and figure out what the findings that you got, the results, what they mean. So on page 69, you will put down the results. And on page 70, it asks you what the results could possibly mean. You can find most of that in your textbook. Our previous textbook had the table with the results. This one has the words rather than a table. So most of the information is there. Of course, you can always look it up elsewhere. So for those 4 stations, it will be based on this bit of information plus whatever we have in the introduction portion, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Notice at the bottom, there's some definitions. The way I set up the exam is that all your answers go on this paper here. So it means that your urinalysis answers will also fit on here. For example, if I want to give you the definition for those words at the bottom, I wouldn't ask you to define it. I would have the definition on the paper and you would give me the one word. So your answers are going to be one word or phrase. Maybe there is a couple words you have to write for something. Anyway, they will all hold on here. Usually I have an extra credit station. If anybody wants to do it, it's usually worth 5 or 6 points. It's available to you too if you want to do that. So that's the format of the years ago when we didn't have the nephron and the other bits, and we repeat, and you will see something. We'll see that again tomorrow, Monday. Because we are looking at basically the same structure, just on different models, I used to get called over, did you know you have this one twice? Did you know you have this one 3 times? So I got bored with it, so I started sticking, IDing what I call gross anatomy, which is like put a pin in the eye, or a pin in the ear, or in the nose, which people never get. I don't know why they don't know that's the nose. And my thought is that if you're finishing up 2080 and you can't identify your eyes or your nose, you have no business finishing the course anyway. So, and when I say gross anatomy, I don't mean part of the nose or part of the eye, it's just the eye. Anyway, I used to stick a few of those on there. But since we get the models, I used to have about 5 or so of them. Since we get the models, I cut down on it. So maybe 1 or 2 on there that I just throw them in to break up the anatomy. So that's what the exam, the format will be like. So let's talk about what urinalysis is about. So urinalysis, like blood tests, is one of those go-to diagnostic tools. This is what clinicians rely on very heavily. You know, when you go to the doctors, one of the first things they do is hand you little cups and send you to pee. Sometimes you don't even want to pee. But they do that because they can glean a lot of information from the urine. And the advantage of the urine, unlike the blood where you have to prick yourself multiple times, the urine is free and it has as much information as the blood in terms of what's going on in the body. So there are some benefits to doing urinalysis. The tests are also fairly easy to do, and even though they charge the insurance company loads, it's really not that profound. You're going to be doing them this morning. So we have one, two, three, 4 activities to do. One is the physical test, because urinalysis usually takes 3 forms. The physical test, and that is observation basically. You are going to look at the urine, and some of this information is in the earlier part of your lab objective. That's what I mean when I said the information is here, some of the information. It talks about what normal urine should look like, and so when you look at it, you can tell if something is going on. For example, urine has a distinct color. A normal urine has a distinct color, and that is a light yellow to kind of gold, and that can the yellow, the range of the yellow varies based on how hydrated or dehydrated you are. The yellow is caused by bilirubin. If you remember from cardiovascular, that when the red blood cells get old, they get recycled by the spleen, and the heme breaks down, and one of its pigments is bilirubin, well, biliverdin, which converts to bilirubin, which generally is taken up by the liver, or most of it, and the liver uses it to make bile. The excess, the amount that wasn't taken up by the liver is still in the blood. Most of that makes its way to the large intestine. Some of it makes its way to the kidney for excretion. So the color of the urine is due to that bilirubin that's coming out. So that yellowy color is pretty normal. That is why feces have that color as well, because of the stercobilin that the bilirubin breaks down into. Now, you can then compare that against other colors you might run into. And urine colors can vary, and some of them are outlandish, and they may mean nothing. They may be quite benign, or they may mean significant disease processes. So for example, urine could be blue, reddish, purplish, reddish, and it could be a very serious liver disease, porphyria, or it could be that you eat beets. I ate beets then I forgot I ate them, and then my urine is purple and I start panicking. I had completely forgotten that I had eaten the beets. Oh my God. So yeah, speaking of beets, certain foods can change the color of your urine, so you have to keep that in mind. I had a student once told me that she fed her kid carrots and the kid turned orange. I guess she was feeding her nothing but carrots. So, and in that case, the urine would be rather orange too. Keep that in mind. Color can vary. Then you have disease colors like red. Usually when you see red, it means blood. There's blood hiding somewhere. And blood is never a good thing in urine other than if it's a contamination from your menses or something. Any kind of blood in the urine is a problem because the red blood cells are supposed to be filtered at the glomerulus and be turned back, sent back to the system. It shouldn't come out and show up in the urine. So if it's showing, if red blood cells or any kind of blood is showing up, you got that sometime after the filtration or at the filtration slip. So there is a problem either way. It could be infection, it could be a problem with the kidney itself, glomerulus and glomerulonephritis, they call it. Then there is other colors like green, purple, pink. Well, pink is a shade of purple, I suppose. Black. Very dark brown, almost brown. That's when you are jaundiced, because at that point you have so much bilirubin, it's no longer gold. It's brown, dark brown, almost blackish. And then there's bronze, and then there's blue, and so there's a whole range of them that are not good things to see. The other thing you want to look for when you look at your urine, other than the color, is you want to look for whether it's clear or cloudy. We call that turbidity. So you want to look at the clarity of the urine, and again, just like any of the findings, it could be something benign, it could be something significant. Benign, if you have a lot of epithelial tissue, some people shed more epithelial tissue, because remember, the urethra, the bladder, and the urethra is all lined with transitional epithelium, and they get sloughed off, and so you can see that in the urine. It may be that you are dehydrated, you haven't drank enough water for the day, so the urine is pretty concentrated and it looks a little more cloudy than usual. But then it could be the other extreme where you have proteins in the urine, you have glucose in the urine, you have fat or pus in the urine. And it's not unusual for some people with gonorrhea to have pus in their urine. So the urine appears white, by the way. Whenever there's fat or pus, you get a milky white color, not just in the urine, but in the feces as well. So we want to look for clarity or turbidity. The other thing you want to look for is smell. And you generally don't pick up the urine and stick it in your nose. What you do is you kind of move the air towards you. And you shouldn't, with fresh urine, you shouldn't have any smell per se. When the urine sits around, then it takes on an ammonia smell, because a lot of the urea that's in there is derived from ammonia to begin with. But ammonia is so basic, very corrosive, that the liver converts it into urea. So you excrete most of that. The ammonia comes from nitrogenous waste, whatever protein breakdown and stuff. But the liver converts it to urea and uric acid. And so that's how you excrete it usually. But if you sit it around, it will start to reprocess, reform the ammonia, and you will smell the ammonia. This is why when you go to certain facilities, you can smell, because it's not the people you're smelling so much like the stale, the leftover stuff, if they don't clean the place properly. The other thing you want to look for when you do physical is, well, I guess that will be physical. Oh, the pH, I guess that can be physical. You can't see the pH, no, that will be chemical. All right, so those are some of the things that you can see up front. And the other thing is the volume, how much you put it out. Is it a lot? Is it a little bit? And what does it mean? Now again, it can be nothing. You just didn't drink enough water, you put out a tiny bit. Remember, the job of the, one of the job of the urinary system is to regulate your fluid balance. So if the body, if it thinks you don't have enough fluid, it's not going to put out any. It will try to retain as much of it as possible. So if you don't go to the bathroom, or if you did go and you have this teeny bit, it's because the kidney is trying to regulate what fluid you have. Or you've been drinking lots of water and you keep going, because again, it will not allow you to keep excessive fluid, because that poses a threat to the cells. So that volume is tells you something. It could be something more important. Again,